Hey guys, what is up? Coming at you here with another State of Progress update. This one's going to be pretty short. I'm not really going to do any work in it. Just going to talk about what I've been working on and what I have yet to work on. So first and foremost, I'm getting very close to vertical slice stage, which basically means I have all the functionality of the core elements in place. There's only like one or two minor systems I have left to do. One of the big things that I did over just the last 24 hours, is I finally implemented the main menu options so that you can adjust volumes and controller input stuff like that. That was a bit of a pain. I hate doing menu work, especially when you're working in a situation like this where you have relatively few tools to work with. Unity doesn't have the most robust UI software, but overall, I'm happy with it. It works. It works quite well. Well, okay, there's a couple of issues there, but I can tweak that. Another thing is controller mapping. Yeah, it's not pretty, and it doesn't match the rest of the UI, but it does work now. That is in no small part to using the Rewired plugin, which I will never... That's another one of those add-ons I will never do another project without. Other than that, I still have to implement the menu in-game itself, which shouldn't be too much of an issue because it's basically just going to be a copy paste and then, change some triggers around. In the game itself, I brought back an old system. You'll notice at the bottom right hand corner you can see your icon weapon here. I brought this back because some recommendations in terms of gameplay balance suggested that I should consider limiting how useful the auto fire pickup weapons are. And my original idea was to give them a limited ammo source, but I found that was just a pain in the butt to work with. Trying to develop levels that take that into account wasn't really working, and I didn't want to punish skilled players by giving them limited amounts of ammo. So instead, I brought back a system that was already in place, which was nice because it basically required no effort. Instead, I have the overheating mechanic. You can see a little bar in the bottom corner. I can't point the mouse at it because the mouse is disabled, but basically, you have an overheating mechanic, so you have to manage your rate of fire, and that is in place for all the automated weapons. One of the big ones that I changed was the nature of the projectiles. Before, I was using sort of a weird hybrid system where projectiles would, when you were on the ground, the collision would be calculated in screen space, which meant basically if you were overlapping it on the screen, like for example, there you see the ball was touching his head, that would count as a hit. And while I still think that would ideally be the best situation, the problem was being able to jump over stuff. In order for that to work, I had to switch it into a world space collision system, which means that basically it's now being calculated in 3D space instead of in the two-dimensional view space. The trouble there is the interface between the two. Whenever you would jump in the air and then land back on the ground, it would be hard to tell whether or not you were going to land in a safe place. So I ended up going back to the world space system, which I had originally started with way back when I started this in the fall. And I'm not entirely satisfied with it, but, I think it's a good alternative for being able to at least tell where you are in space. I did add drop shadows to all the projectiles you can see, or at least all the enemy projectiles. The player doesn't really need it, just to make it easier to tell where they are. But other than that, I'm not entirely satisfied with it. I feel like the shadows are a bit ugly, and you tend to spend more time looking at them than the actual bullets, but I think in terms of difficulty, it does make the game a little more manageable and a little more predictable, so I ended up having to go with it. You also see the projectiles no longer disappear immediately when their source dies. Instead, they flicker for a while, which is something that I'd been meaning to do for a very long time, like literally since last fall, and I just now implemented it. I think I had a couple other minor tweaks and system changes, but those were the really big ones. So I guess the goals I'm going to have here with this project are, I'm still aiming for August 1st, which basically means I want to have it content complete by August 1st. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's in a release-ready state, but it does mean that I basically want to have all the levels mapped out, all of the main content mapped out. And after that point, I want to just focus on fixing bugs, game balance, promotion, and figuring out where, how, and why I'm going to release this. As it is right now, it is now the 19th, which means I have less than 2 weeks to get this done. I have like 12 days to get this done. That's a tight deadline, I'm not going to lie. That's crazy short. But I'm already basically done mapping out the first level. The second level is very nearly white boxed, and I'm probably going to start tomorrow doing the actual detail filling of that. I want to have a total of 4 levels, with 4 boss fights at the end of each of them. And my plan is likely to be, I'm going to release the game as a demo, as the 4 levels as a demo, to see what the interest is. And I'm going to release it for free, just to see if anyone is even interested in the game. Because I feel like going any further than that is kind of pointless if nobody wants to play it. So instead, what I want to do is I want to see what the interest is, and, you know, provide mechanisms within the game, you know, like a website, maybe a mailing list, an email, things like that to entice people who are interested to sign up and show their support. And if I can get enough people doing that, then I have a much better idea of judging whether or not this is something worth pursuing, or, you know, whether I should go find another full-time job. Which, by the way, in case you don't know this, I quit my job working in third-party logistics. I've been doing logistics for the better part of 10 years. Warehousing in one sort or another. Quite honestly, I hate it. I hate everything about it. It was just always an easy job to find. You know, I've only worked at like 2 or 3, well, 3 different places. And it's always been easy work to find, but it's never been satisfying. And quite honestly, I just can't express enough how much I hate it. So, assuming I can't make full-time game development my full-time job, I definitely want to look into something, you know, more related in the tech world, or, you know, something working with computers, because, you know, even as a supervisor working in warehousing, that's just not an interesting job for me, and it's not getting me anywhere in life that I want to be. So, yeah, for all of you who I have not told that to yet, there you go. There's that little bit of information about me. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers the state of everything at this point. Like I said, I'm very nearly at the vertical slice. The content that I am creating is going to be very tight, very focused, and very small. And I just want to see what kind of interest I can get from there, and whether or not to pursue it any further. So with that, I'm going to sign off now, get back to work. Like I said, I only have about 12 days to finish this content up and start working on the rest of what will hopefully lead to a sellable game. So, yeah, there you go.